Hi everybody, I hope everyone is fine. You started well the week and so on. You had a nice weekend, and so I got a new microphone, so if there is any sound problem, please let me know ASAP. But I hope the sound becomes better. And today we're gonna continue to iterate in our cycle swap project on cycle.swap. And without further ado, let's do it. So I had left some to-dos last week, so maybe we can have a look at where we stand at. So I'm gonna zoom here. Always good, and I'm just gonna check if I updated the branch, because over the weekend, since I had not that much to do yesterday, so I did a small upgrade. You see, I added my traditional shadows, so that the app has a bit more character. It's not really that important for our project, but still. So yeah, let me check that. So pull, right. So somewhere we should have some to-dos. Yes, so that's what we have discussed last week. And maybe let's start with the code subaccount. Right. Or maybe let's just start everything before that, because otherwise it's gonna be a bit complicated. So I'm starting the local emulator, and here I'm starting the front-end application. Okay, we are up, so here I should soon be able to sign up. Maybe not. Yes, so we have that. Yeah, right. And because we want to implement this, we also want the wallet that run. So I need to start that pseudo wallet that I had here. So that was let me 2 seconds. So not this one. Have run that. Okay, so if I take the wallet locally and I go to demo, I should have npm run dev wallet, but I don't want to run. We are running on port okay, we want this port for the backend. So here what port I'm using currently is port 2 seconds. So here we should have a sign in somewhere. Yes, and this use the layout which has a sign in button, and the sign in, and the sign in uses port local replica URL and the port here. Alright. Oh, I should maybe had a Okay, so here what we did last week is once we are logged it here, I can click and open okay. I want to open it on port. I don't want on port 5. So here when I clicked, I opened that pseudo wallet in which I can sign in, and I approve the things, and now here I got my account, which is the same account as in my wallet, right? And in that context, there is no sub account, it's just like a main account. But I said we can have the code that works with sub account too, but then when we did that, a library was missing, right? So I don't remember exactly which was what, but here you see we couldn't do that because we didn't have that base 64 to unit 8 array, so we couldn't do that. If sub account is provided, then decode it, otherwise not. So this function, we added it to the utils library of ICGS. This function is now part of this of this. Therefore, we can I'm gonna do like this. I'm gonna in the application I will remove ledger ICRC, signer wallet, and util, which is the one that we are interested in. No. And I install those again. Okay. And now that we have that, we can uncomment the code we had prepared last week. And import this from Definity Utils. You see now it's exposed. And remove the to-do. So what do we do is when we establish the connection here, this one answers with the account, but the account is encoded. So what we do is we have the owner, which is text, so we can use principal to get the owner, and the sub account is base 64, so we can encode that to unit 8 array, and then we got the ICRC type, and from that we can encode it, which then becomes the string representation. So it's a bit of mumbo jumbo, but just to tell that we have done that, right? So here we have this account. Okay, so I'm gonna commit this. Handle sub account from wallet. All right, and then what we can do next is maybe not related to the solution per se, but that's a bit long and ugly. So what I propose that we do is that we trim this. So I don't know if I have already a component in this application that does that. Doesn't look like. So I will go in Juno, and in Juno I should have a component called identifier. But maybe we already have that one because I should have copy. Okay, copy principal, but I don't trim it. copy principal here too, right? Okay, so we kind of want the same but with a shortened thing. So I'm gonna take this one here and copy it in our application there. So it takes we need this function here. So what does this function do is if the text is longer than 16 chars, then it takes the first up to 7, put 3 dots, and then do the same for the end. That way you end up with numbers, 3 dots, and numbers, which is a bit nicer. And here, so what do we have? Copy, we need an ARIA label for the copy. So we're gonna put like an ARIA label here. Right, and we don't have small, we just have this, so I'll copy that here, remove this, and so we have span. Interesting, the span is the title, so your principal copy, so we don't have that, sorry. So we remove this, we remove that. So this is the short identifier and the copy button. Okay, and okay. Tac, tac. And do we need something else? This ARIA shorten, and that we don't want. Are we good? Bold. What's bold? We don't have bold here. Okay, so we can remove this. Okay, and now here we can use identifier, and the identifier is our account as text, and the ARIA label is copy the account ID to clipboard. Yes, okay. Not too bad, except that the display flex is missing. Identifier. It's because this one is not in line, I guess. So 2 seconds. So what we're gonna do is style display inline flex. Ooh, grid flex. Okay. Yeah, for now we're just gonna do something like this, which is ugly, but I can fix it later. Alright. But that's already a bit better, right? So okay. So now we present the identifier of the account that we connected to the wallet a bit in a nicer way, but it would be nice also to have the balance, because once the connection is established, here the user might do something, you know, like for example here what we want to do is we want to insert a value. So when I do that, I don't see the wallet anymore. So it would be interesting to display the balance as well. So we can do that. Okay, so we're gonna add like a wallet balance component, and where are we? Blah blah blah. So that's where we are, and we have the ICRC account here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually let ICRC account, I will explain soon why, and here we derive this. So I just refactor the code so that I have an object here. Okay, and this is an ICRC account. Doesn't exist in Ledger ICP. What do we have here? The spender is an account. Aha, an account. Okay. But it's not exactly the same type, because here we want an ICRC account. Oh, and the ICRC account comes from Ledger ICRC. Okay. So okay, and here we're gonna say as the same. No, because here it's a string. Oh la la. As ICRC account lib. Let's call it like that. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is we want this as a parameter of this component. So I want to pass the account because I want to fetch the balance for that account, right? So okay. Now when we have the account, we want to fetch the balance. So CMC data, we don't have yet a service for that, so I think we can create one that we call wallet or ledger. I guess we can call it wallet. So wallet.services. Okay, and here what we want to do is we want to load get the balance. Yeah, I think, and here I will return a promise that contains a success if it works out, and no, let's call it like that. We return the balance, and we want to say if the result is okay or an error, right? Yes, let's do that. Okay, and to fetch the balance from the ledger, we gonna need the it's actually public information, so we don't need particularly an identity, we just need the account. So I'm still gonna make an array in case we add more things in the future. All right. And yes, and then to fetch it, we are using the ICP ledger, so we can do const we are using ledger ICP, so we can use this. Okay, yeah, sounds good. Do I have already a function that creates an account? Do we have already agent? Do we have somewhere? Okay, that's interesting. So that's what we need here basically. So we need this part here, so we're not gonna just copy it. So what I suggest that we do is later on I will move this, but we're gonna create an API.agent. So what we want is we want a channel to query the IC, so we're gonna put that here, export const get agent. So technically, if I would take the time, I would start caching the agent and not recreate one all the time. But here, since we are live doing things, I'm just gonna go straight to the point and just add a to-do agent should be cached per principal/user ID for best performance. I think in Juno.js we add a to-do to expose those information, that way we don't have to recreate it. Okay, and here I will identity alright. Tac. Here we put a return. Alright, and here we have our get agent. And it's actually the identity is optional, so let's do it just to be on the safe path, but I don't think that will be that's a good idea. So here now we can reuse that. Let's call it create agent thingy. Here we're just gonna pass the identity and we can remove this. Alright, and now that we have that, we can go in our service and we have an agent. Because it's a public data, we're gonna use anonymous identity because we don't particularly need to be signed in or anything. Anyone can get that value, right? And what did I say? Yeah, then we need this. So ledger, I don't have, what do we have here? Ledger ICRC. Did we decide last week to have the ledger ICRC? Yeah, I mean, that works too, but we want to work in ICP here, so I'm not sure. Yeah, so let's change that. Ooh la la, not here. And we take the ICP one because it's still a bit different. Okay. Now we just have to convert those things. So here that probably does not exist. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Ah, it's because we wanted this. Ah, no, I get it. Okay, I understand. So we're gonna use both. No, that's a bit. No, that's not a good idea. That's too much complication. So let's remove this and just use ICRC. Okay. At the end, the ICP ledger is ICRC compatible, so we will manage also to make a call to it. So here instead the FCP, I'm gonna use the ICRC, and I take this one. Okay. Oopla. Okay, great. There. And here, I'm not sure if we inject or not. Maybe not. We have CMC ID. We don't have yet the ledger, so if we would use the Juno environment, all those variables will already be there, but in that case I think we don't have those, so I will go in the, because I know I have the ledger ID there, so ledger, so here that's the ID. So what we're gonna do is we go in the properties, we're gonna add with ICP ledger ID here too, and I guess in app constant I said, do I have, I need a bit of cleanup here, so let's put the ledger ICP ledger ID. Okay, and here we can assign it here, but it wants a principal, so there, and here we want balance, right? And finally we can do a weight balance, and we pass the account. Okay, and result, but we want to return result. Let's do easier, success. Success true, result not balance is result. Okay, but then that stuff here can throw an exception, that's why I put it here. So here we're gonna have a try catch, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna toast dot error unexpected error while loading the account balance or something like that, and we pass the error as well. Detail, yeah, why is it called detail anyway? Okay, and here we return success false. Great, so that in the component we created, balance, we can add an amount, and we are safe to fetch the success and balance. But actually we won't use any of those, I think. So technically we would be able to, if we want to show, for example, a spinner, we can display the spinner until success is true or false, or display the error. And same for balance, but we're just gonna make that simple. So here I just make a state. Okay, and here we're gonna do B result. Let's call it like that. We don't care about it in this simple thing. We're gonna do that. Okay, and now here we're gonna put a if non-nullish balance. So then we're gonna do something like what we had previously here, which is, so technically that would be better to have a label for and so on. So, and we're gonna have probably gonna make, we can make a component, I think. So yeah, anyway, so I will maybe I already have this one here value. Yes. So okay, label blah blah blah. That way here we can do value with what do we have? We have label okay. So we have the title, which will be balance, and the value will be the effective balance, right? Which we still need to convert. But at this point, if everything goes fine, yeah, I like if it appears a bit smoothly, otherwise it's gonna be a bit rough on the edges. So if I do the connection again, do we have an error? Or, you know what? It's nice to have a balance, but if we don't use it, not gonna really work. So here we have ballet balance, where we pass the account, and so here we have no, that ICRC account. Okay, and now I'm just gonna restart so that it picks that CSS change. So I will close this one, so up. All right, and you see here we have the balance that is there, but yeah, I'm still annoying about that, but I will fix it later. It's nice, but it's not yet, I mean, it's not exactly the value I have, like the value is rather dot, right? So we need to format that. So I will go again in Juno, and somewhere I should have like a format ICP, I guess. Right. So format ICP takes the value that I pass as parameter, divide it with the number of 8 per ICP, and then it display minimal 4 and max to 8, because I know that that token has a decimal, right? So yeah, let's do that. Yeah, that's dumb, sorry. Ah, we already have one, but it doesn't divide. That's interesting, and it's also not used, it seems. So let's rather use that. And ooh, do we already have this? Yes, here. So we're gonna move this to the constant. Okay. And here, and now here, and we should be good. All right, so not too bad, right? Not too bad, except that things here which really annoys me. Okay, so now what we want to do is, if we have a look, did we add this here or in my other browser? I don't remember. Maybe the other one. Yeah, I guess. Yes. So we have connected the wallet, blah blah blah. We are here, and here what we want to do is blah blah tag. What's that? Are you agree? Give me consent message. That's what we done last week. And now what we want to do is, right, so up to now we have just approved one. I'm not even sure that was one ICP. It's probably another value. Let me check. We had approved. What do we have here? So let's connect. Alright, and here we had an approval for 0.5 ICP. But since we want to implement this from a bit more dynamic, so we want to allow the developer, whoever used the app, so me, to enter a value, right? So we want an input field, and we also want to show how many cycles it is. For example, here I have 25 ICP, but if I gonna enter 20, I want to know how many cycles that is. So we want to have both, like having the input field and the conversion rate. Right, so let's do that. Display balance is done. Yeah, you see that's there's 2 steps here. So we're gonna do wallet input. We're gonna need the balance though, because we want to check that we don't enter more than, yeah, I don't know. So where input I don't have better naming ID right now. Okay, and let's go. So we want value, it's gonna be ICP amount, and here that will be an input field. Okay, and okay, and here underneath we want to have something like converted to cycles, amount of cycles, something like that, right? Okay, and we want to have that here. All right, and we need an input field. Yeah. All right, let's take that there. Not too bad. So here I will have a reference which is before ICP. Let's call it like that. No, it's ref, I think, yes. And he will use the ref here. So here we're gonna connect ICP amount. Okay, we're gonna need to bind. So that will be a text, I guess. All right. So now will be a state. Let's call it user amount. Let's always have a value. All right. Text. ICP convert. And all right. So if I okay. So, yeah, looks a bit like crap, but I mean we get in there. And okay, so now when I enter some value, I don't want the value. Yeah, at the end of the day, this button here should not be enabled if here I enter 108 ICP, because here I got 55, right? So yeah, or we can, and we just keep it active and we throw an error when we do the effective transfer. Yeah, that works too. Okay. So what we want to have now is the amount in cycles. So let's have a look. So to get the amount in cycles, I'm not sure if I already do that. But if not, I used to at least. Yes. You see here we are using the CMC canister. And that canister has a function called ICP-XDR conversion rate. If we go here, you see, we have that. Okay. Is that the one I was requesting here? Yes. yes. And this one sends data, and in the data we got XDR per myriad per ICP. And somehow, if we use that value, multiply by a lot, and we divide by the number of XDR per one ICP, then we get our conversion rate. So here, if we have a look, then I use this to calculate some stuff which are actually not displayed in the UI, just like because it's old code and it used to be used, I think. You see here cycles to ICP, and I do number of cycles through this. So we can do the contrary. Alright, so what we're gonna do is since we already fetched information every time the worker run, because here every 30 seconds, or I don't remember how often. Timer. It's a settings. So depending how often the timer run, that value is reloaded, and then we get the last value. So we can just use it on the front end side, and then we have it. So what we are going to do is we're gonna call that, what was it called? Trion ratio? That was a rare name. Where was it? Sorry. Trion ratio. Here. Okay. So ICP XDR conversion rate. Yeah, it's verbose, but let's call it ICP XDR conversion rate. So here we're gonna do a store. I'm not good with name today. Okay, and we're gonna do an explore const store, which is writable store, which will contain either a begin or undefined, and initialize it with undefined. All right, so that we have on the front end, and we also want to get that value from the worker. So what we need to do is we need to for example, here we have init canister, so we need to do the same. So we need to declare a type, so we're gonna call it sync. Oh, that name is crazy. Tac. Okay, that way in the worker what we can do now is add a function which gonna be const sync blah blah, and here we will do that. Oof. Tac. So what we do is from the web worker we sync the value, and we just gonna have to find where this is calculated. So we have the 300 here, 300 there, and the 300 here, so it's always there. So Yeah, I will do something that is a bit ugly, but let's go straight to the point. So what we're gonna do is, actually I will add this here. Tac tac, remove that and do this. And here we're gonna have 3 on ratio. So const 3 on ratio await here, and here we will return this. So that's really ugly code, but it's alright, because we do both a fetch and a pause, so it's a bit, yeah, it's not state of the art, but let's go to the point. So, and here I replace all the usage I had of the previous function. This way we land here, and now we just need the final step, which is, so that's useless. And here we're gonna say case, no, although, yes. And necessarily watch service. Where was I? Here. So here we have that. Here we have this. So that's gonna be even easier. So okay, and we get so here data is the value itself. The data is the value itself. The data is because here we add it as an internal value. Okay, so here we're gonna say XP, no, begin. Okay, and so here we can have that, and here we can have the store that's a set with that value. Anyway, it's undefined or not, so we are fine. And here we pass the data. The only things that we need to do is here we need to, like this. Nice. So if everything works fine at this point, now we should have the value that is fetched. Yes, you see, we have it. So what we're gonna do next week is we will use that value to convert the ICP to cycles. I mean, just one step. And then we still have our to do here. Yes, so we're gonna do finish that. We're gonna display the value. Then we also gonna have a look to expire that for the approval, and then we effectively gonna implement the API endpoint in our serverless function, and we will call it, yeah. So basically what we're gonna do is here we will replace that one ICP with the input. And once we got that, we are finally here with a dynamic value, and then we can start that's doing this part here on the backend side. Alright, so that was for today. Was working a bit with the ledger and the CMC on the internet computer. The ledger to fetch the balance, the CMC to get the ratio, to convert cycles to ICP back and forth. Right? So thanks for enjoying the call. If you have any question, ping me anytime this week, and always happy to have a look at that next week. Have a good week. Bye bye.